Mulcahy.
Yeah, I agree with the former speaker. The agenda, there's quite a lot on this today, quite a lot to cover. Thank you, okay. Look, Minister, I'm going to, like yourself, you're welcome to the House. I'm going to start on energy. During my years as Senate spokesperson on communications, energy and national resources, I've on a number of occasions met with the department officials, CR, Nuera and the previous minister. What I've come to understand is that there's a massive gap between the policymakers and what is required to deliver real investment in renewables outside of the state agencies. The direction the department has taken is very much in line with its advisers as per its website: Board Gas, DSB, Board Namona, Airgrid, SEI, and the draft RHI fits well in with Quilcha. Yet the market is meant to be open. Energy is supposed to be made more affordable for our citizens. How does the draft bioenergy plan help us achieve our green energy targets? Our overall renewable energy target is 16% of our energy consumed, of which 40% is for electricity, 12% for heat, 10% of transport, which is a binding target. Your department's own data brief at 3 assumes that the majority of energy projects are going to go ahead, in particular the biomass CHP proposals. This could be a very grave assumption. Having assisted in 3 of the projects, it is fair to say they've encountered many blockages and hurdles. Yes, even if they all do go ahead, you still come up with a shortfall on your overall energy targets of 2%, thereby exposing potentially the taxpayer to a possible cost in excess of €300 million, where you having to purchase carbon credits. And if all of these projects don't go ahead, there's a possibility again, your department's own figures, that we could come up with a 10% shortfall in our energy targets. That shortfall is the equivalent of €1.5 billion cost to the taxpayer, as we would be forced to purchase carbon credits from countries who have exceeded their targets. The only other way of avoiding the above cost is to put up 1,000 megawatts of wind turbines, in addition to the 1,750 megawatts still to come on board from REFIT 2. This would equate to from 1,400 to 1,500 wind turbines, plus turbines up and down the country, and we know the grief that will cause. Minister, you can address this. The EEC directive support realising private investment to achieve our overall targets of 16%. And as Senate spokesperson, having assessed a number of biomass projects and proposals that have been stuck in the department for the last 4 years, the core reasons these plans have not proceeded to date are the energy efficiency threshold set at 75 to 80% by DCNR are way above the requirements in other European countries, which are as low as 45%. Furthermore, the Department refuses to recognise the PA's primary energy savings method of approving these types of plans, which would benefit the rollout of district heating networks. These networks would replace vast amounts of fossil fuels, coals, oil, gas, etc., in many regional towns and gateways. There has been a lack of action and understanding in DCR by providing clear bankable terms and conditions with respect to REFIT. These are the main reasons there is no progress. The jobs issue. In supporting biomass at local level, the Department of Energy in the UK has established that every megawatt of biomass equates to 14.5 jobs, as against wind energy 1.5 per megawatt. I think it is also important, Minister, to outline and put on the record that DCNR will currently support a full REFIT tariff of a biomass plant that will just dry its wood, biomass, and effectively blow the heat up the chimney into the atmosphere. It would burn 2 times the amount of fuel to generate 50 megawatts of electricity, but with no thermal district heating and no fossil fuel displacement. But DCNR won't support 2 similarly sized plants to produce half the fuel to generate the same amount of electricity and roll out a district heat network that would displace 20 million of fossil fuels. These projects will deliver many thousands of sustainable jobs in farming, forestry and industry. I would ask you, Minister, to review the timelines to allow these projects to come together. I note from today that you intend to issue a new policy in September 2015. The difficulty is by September 2016, any of these large-scale projects would have to be 3/4 of the way along to being completed or to be built effectively, and that's going to cause a problem. The 2030 target to draw down the REFIT can't be moved out, and that's fixed. So the timeline for companies to invest and realise their investments are getting shorter all the time. I would urge you to look at Sweden. I've already communicated that to you. I certainly urge you to look at Denmark and see how they realise their targets. And we must, at all times, maximise our natural resources and reduce our reliance on oil and gas. I do welcome your honest delivery here today, and I didn't have the benefit of having read that, obviously, before today. And I will work with you in any way I can, and I know the people that I know will certainly work with you, and I know your department officials will work to try to deliver as best as we can on these. What I would say is this, you do state biomass is critical, and our use of that for the future. And I know I've communicated this to you in the past. There is no way that we should be burning biomass to generate electricity only, and I need to put that on the record. We must maximise the burning of that to generate heat as well. While we're at that. In relation to the broadband plan, I welcome that. I know that my former speakers have already spoken on that. I do genuinely believe that we will deliver on this. I certainly support you on that. We need it far and wide around the country so we can actually get that. In relation to One Post, I welcome the appointment of Bobby Carter to do yourself, the independent chair of the Post Office Network. I've certainly met with a lot of people who work in the post office themselves and the representatives of the Postmasters Union. We need to widen their operations as best as we can. I know AIB Banking work with them. Car tax, the social welfare contract, obviously social welfare contract is going to be a difficult one to deliver. But I think there's no standalone post office going to survive into the future. And I want to be honest in this. I mean, I go to meetings where fellows say we want to retain our local post office, and they say, well, when was the last time you bought a stamp? Or you posted a letter? Because everybody now uses their mobile phone and email, but yet they make the case we want to keep the local post office open. So it's a difficult one, and I wish you well with that one. But my main focus today was obviously always going to be on energy. And I do genuinely appreciate your own statement on that. And as I said, I hadn't the benefit of seeing that before I got here. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Quinn.